Hey Shells fans, welcome to Shell Me More, a podcast from August Shell Brewing Company. On this episode, you're going to hear about some ideas for what to do around town if you're traveling to New Ulm for a long weekend or just for a day trip. If you're coming down for the day from the Twin Cities via 169, you can make a quick stop in Nicollet at Schmidt's to watch a world-class meat market buzz. We recommend grabbing a New Ulm-style summer sausage. Then continue to New Ulm, and you'll know you're in Graceland when you summit the hill and see the gigantic American flag flying high at Perkins. Now you've got a landmark, so you know where to turn to get to the brewery. Pull into South Park right by the disc golf course's hole number 1 and take the scenic walk up to the brewery. Snap a pic in front of the brewery when you get in and slap a tag on there so we see it on the socials. Make sure you jump on a brewery tour and then hit up the beer garden for some music. Then cruise over to Herman the German to see the town from the highest spot in New Ulm. Stop over at AMPI and pick up some yummy cheese curds straight from the factory. Before heading out of town, swing into one of the local joints downtown to shoot the breeze with our favorite local bartenders. It's always a treat visiting New Ulm. Now let's hear from the New Ulm Chamber President, Sarah Warmka. Thanks for joining me today, Sarah. If you want to get started by telling people what your job is and what your role is at the Chamber, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'm Sarah Warmka. I'm the president and CEO of the New Ulm Area Chamber of Commerce, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Definitely. And to get things started, let's talk about some of the eats that people can get in New Ulm because there's a lot of good food options, and that's something people are always thinking about. It's always on their mind. So what are some of the spots in town?
Yeah, New Ulm has a lot of variety of food for restaurants and different food options. So, we're a German town, and we're kind of known for that German heritage. So people think about sauerkraut and Lahnjagers when they think about New Ulm, which is great. But we have so much more than that. So right downtown, there's lots of options. One being Lola's, which is really popular, especially for breakfast and lunch. They have great coffees and baked goods, and then for lunch options, it's very fresh and very light. Although they're known for their chicken pot pie, which is probably not so light, but really great options there. Lamplighter downtown is really popular. It's a family sports bar. You can go watch sports, bring your family. Rodney's has great burgers. Lakes on First downtown is known for breakfast. We've got Joni's downtown. That's your cute small town cafe kind of feel. But German food too. We've got a couple of restaurants downtown where you can get German options. One being the world famous Kaiserhof. So you can get ribs and Reuben balls and all the kinds of German food there. They also have, of course, American options. And they're under new ownership recently as well. So they're doing a lot of remodeling and some great changes happening there. Turner Hall is also known for German food as well as American food. We'll talk about Turner Hall a little bit later too because they're such an integral part of our community and great for tourism too. We have Mexican restaurants, 2 of them actually, Plaza Garibaldi and Arale, and they're both very different and very good. The Country Club has changed a lot of things in the last year, and they just have a great brand new menu, and they're trying lots of fresh new things out there, as well as their Thursday night flight night, so you can try some different cocktails, which has been really popular for the Country Club. Morgan Creek Vineyards is just outside of town, and they have a wood-fired oven, so they make like pizzettas and different charcuterie stuff out there that's really popular. And then food trucks, food trucks are becoming more and more popular. So there's a spot downtown on 4th North that food trucks park often, but they're also all over town at different businesses or on different corners, out here at the brewery as well.
Yeah, we have them out here quite a bit, and it's been just an awesome addition for people coming in to grab a beer and then they get a bite to eat. So, yeah, we're really appreciative of those businesses.
Yeah, great food trucks.
Yep. And so then if people are downtown eating on Minnesota Street or somewhere down there and they want to take a break or they're done getting a bite, what are some shops that they can go check out down there?
Yeah, so New Ulm is a shopping destination because we have great boutiques and unique items that you can't find, in big cities. It's fun to come to small towns and check out their boutiques. So downtown we have places for trendy fashions. Gallery 512 Boutique is great for fashion items. Bailey Creek Boutique also has a lot of good clothing, and Inspired is also down there. For kids, we have Bumbaloo, which they have a location in Mankato, and they've expanded into New Ulm, and they're awesome and such cute clothes for kids and kids' toys and puzzles and things like that. Home decor, the A to Zinnia Floral and Gifts has an amazing store that you think it's a floral shop, but if you go in, it blows me away every time I go in there with just the awesome things in there. Inspired has clothing as well as home decor. It's huge. It's right downtown. 2 floors of just full of gift items and clothing and different things. We are a Germantown, of course, and so there's that ask for German gifts. And so we have 3 main options for German things. So Dohmeyer's German Store is located on 10th North and Minnesota Street, and it's in a residential area, but it's worth checking out because it's like 80 some years old, a family-owned store that was started in a garage. And so it's a really unique experience to check that out. And they've got cuckoo clocks and beer steins and German hats and German chocolate and all that kind of stuff. And right downtown, then there's Guten Tag House, which also has a lot of imported German items. Again, all those same things, and all, like I said, the imported chocolates are really popular for the German gifts. We're also a quilting destination. We have 3 quilt shops in town. Did you know that?
I didn't. No,
Yeah.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah, so it's actually we're in the middle of the shop hop, and last year during the shop hop we had 1,900 quilters come to town just to check out the quilt shops. So 3 very different, unique quilt shops that really draws a lot of people to town. Some other options for gifts, we have New Ulm's own. It's a fair trade store, so that's really cool. You can get coffees and different fair trade items, which is really neat. We have a co-op downtown that has all kinds of Minnesota items, food as well as gifty items. The Grand Center for Arts and Culture has a gift shop, so you can find some unique artists kind of work in there, cards and different things that artists have handcrafted. The Brown County Historical Society has a gift shop, and so you can get all kinds of history items in there and gift items and shirts and different things that relate to Brown County. And then I don't want to not mention also Shell's has a great gift shop. You guys have awesome gift items for Minnesota items, New Ulm items, Shell's items. So that's also really popular.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in there. It's always changing around, and there's certain items that you can only get in the gift shop that aren't available online. So definitely check that out if you come out to the brewery. And you were talking about the history of New Ulm with the Brown County Historical Society. There's so much history in New Ulm, just rich in history. So if someone's coming into town for a weekend, what are some ways you suggest that they learn about New Ulm and the history behind it?
So I'm going to start with saying that New Ulm is in the Minnesota River Valley National Scenic Byway. So it's a scenic byway of national significance, and the 2 main themes of the byway are the history, the stones. We have some of the oldest stone in the world here in the Minnesota River Valley, which is really neat. And then the other main theme of the byway is the U.S.-Dakota War of 1862, which is a huge part of Minnesota's history and a huge part of New Ulm's history. And if you don't know much about it, it was a war between the Native Americans that were here and the white settlers, and there were 7 main battles, and 2 of those battles happened right here in New Ulm. So again, huge part of our history. It ended, with where 38 Dakota were hung in Mankato, just about 30 miles away from here. So there's lots of sites along the byway where you can learn about that kind of history, as well as here in New Ulm.
Yeah, I think there's a walking tour now, right, through the Brown County Historical Society where they have different signage throughout the town.
Yes, and not just in New Ulm, but all the way through the byway. There's lots of signage. Yes, there's a website, MinnesotaRiverValley.com, where you can see all that. Or we have byway guides. Actually, you have some here in the main center. We have them at the visitor center downtown as well. But there is also a walking tour brochure for New Ulm that we have at the Visitor Center or at the Brown County Museum. So that's a downtown walking tour. It covers about 4 blocks, and so you can pick up a guide or find it online, or just walk around and see the different buildings downtown. They have QR codes on the side of the buildings as well as plaques. So you can read about the history, or you can pull out your phone and watch a YouTube video that tells about the history of that building. And our downtown is really historic and really fascinating. That's where, the settlers went during those 2 wars, the 2 battles of the U.S.-Dakota War. They came downtown and barricades were set up and everyone was hiding in basements. And there's a story of a woman was hiding in a basement in one of the downtown buildings with a keg of gunpowder. And like it's hundreds, all these women and children hiding down there, and she was ready to light this keg of gunpowder on fire if they broke through the barricade. So just some really great history like that downtown.
For a second there, I thought you were going to say a keg of beer.
Well, and so another place to learn about history is on a Shell's tour, which is fascinating. And Shell's was here in 1860s, so sometimes the tour guides will talk about that and how maybe they left a keg of beer here, and they were in good relations with the Native Americans that lived in the area, and so that's why they left the brewery alone. So again, lots of fascinating history there. The downtown, so the Brown County Historical Society is right downtown. So it was built as our post office, so it has some really great architecture, but it has 3 floors of exhibits that you can go through. The 3rd floor has a nationally award-winning exhibit about the U.S. Dakota War. So again, there's that theme, so you can learn more about it at the museum. Then also downtown is the Kiesling House, which is a wooden house right downtown by the lamplighter there, and there's some interpretation there. And it's also a museum that you can go in and tour. And that's one of the only buildings that's still standing downtown from before it was built in 1861. So that withstood the wars down there. But not just that war, there's lots of other history too. So Turner Hall is awesome. So the Turners were a group of Germans who helped found New Ulm. So they came here in 1856. So Germans founded New Ulm, right? In 1854. They came here, they wanted to create a utopian community on the prairie for German immigrants. It was a city that was being built for Germans by Germans. And that's kind of the history there. And so the Turners, of course, were attracted by that. And so they came. And so there's Turner Halls across the country. And the Turners, it's an organization. They were all about sound mind and sound body. So it was like a gathering, a town hall kind of place where people could come and drink and share ideas. They also had a gymnastics program that's still the oldest continuous gymnastics program in the state of Minnesota, which is really fascinating. But you can go to the Rosskeller there at Turner Hall now and see it in the basement where there's a bar and restaurant area. There's murals on the walls that date back to 1873. And they were covered up during World War I because they're German murals. It wasn't a good time to be German in America. And so they covered up these murals, and they were covered for 80 years, and now they've been restored, and they look awesome.
They do, yeah. They're fantastic.
Right. So some more really great history there. A couple other history things that you can tour. So the Governor Lind House is open for tours. The governor was a governor of Minnesota. He lived here, and so his home is an option for tours. Also, the Wanda Gog House. Are you familiar with Wanda Gog? A little bit, maybe?
Is she an author? I forget.
Yeah, an author and a children's illustrator.
Okay.
So she did Millions of Cats is her most famous piece that's still in print. But she grew up here, and her father was also an artist, and so her home is for tours. But it's really neat. Like, he was, a poor artist, and so, like, he couldn't afford wallpaper, but he drew on the walls so that it looked like wallpaper. Did you know the fountain out here at the brewery grounds up by the mansion, that was created by Anton Gog, her father?
I did not know that. That's fascinating. Yeah.
Great history there.
That is cool.
There's monuments all over town that you can go and see. The Defenders Monument is right in the center of Center Street, going up towards the Herman Monument, and some other monuments around town. We have the Minnesota Music Hall of Fame here, so that's a really great addition to our community as well.
A lot of polka in there, right?
Yeah. Yes. It's Minnesota, so, Prince is in there. Lori Line was just inducted.
Cool.
But lots of polka, of course, because we are New Ulm. And then the last one I was going to mention for history is the Harkin store. So that's located just outside of town. And I'm mentioning it last because it's not the inside is not open, although there's interpretation outside, so you can still go. But what it is the town of West Newton, so about 7 miles away from New Ulm, is where the riverboat stopped. And so it was a general store for the riverboats. When New Ulm got bigger and the railroad came through, the riverboat stopped. And what's neat about this store is that when they closed the doors in the 1870s, or 40% of the stock that's there today is original to when they closed the doors. So it's really just fascinating. It's operated by the Minnesota Historical Society, but again, it's not staffed this year, so hopefully it'll be back open next year.
And then you talked about things that people can do throughout the year to learn about the history. How about some of the traditions and culture from New Ulm? Like, what are some of the festivals that go on, and what are some things that people can still do this year yet?
Yeah, a couple really big festivals coming up this year yet is Herman Fest. So that's a big festival at the Herman Monument, which I haven't even talked about yet. But we have fireworks go off over the Herman Monument, and there's live music and food and all that good stuff. So that's on September 10th. It's a Saturday. It's always the Saturday after Labor Day.
Okay.
And then, of course, we have to mention Oktoberfest.
It's a big one.
To say the least. Our Oktoberfest was voted the second best in the nation by USA Today. And of course, Shell's plays a huge part in that. I mean, of course, we have Shell's beer at all the locations for Oktoberfest, but you guys have a huge festival out here on the second weekend. So Oktoberfest is always the first and second full weekend in October. So this year it will be October 7th and 8th and the 14th and the 15th. So that first weekend is the downtown celebration, and it's the 40th anniversary of the downtown Oktoberfest. So we're pulling out all the stops. We've got live music and horse-drawn trolley rides and kids games and just a ton of food trucks. We have, I think, like 9 different food trucks right now. So lots of stuff happening. And then all the bars downtown have music and different things going on. And so it's a great time both weekends to come to town.
So for that first weekend,
Yeah.
I think the streets are blocked off downtown, right?
Right.
So that people can enjoy music out there, and you've got all the different tables out there and the benches and everything.
Correct.
So,
Yep, for sure. That's all downtown that first weekend. The Best Western Plus has live music both weekends, Friday and Saturday of the 7th and the 8th and the 14th and 15th. And then the brewery, of course, has your main festival's on the 15th, that Saturday,
Yes.
the second weekend. And Morgan Creek is also doing some things out there both weekends, but more so the first weekend than the second. And they're not doing the big grape stomp like they normally would have. Again, that's a COVID thing, but hopefully that'll come back again in the future too.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And that second weekend, we have our main festival on the 15th, but I believe that we're going to be doing a pre-party again on that Friday. Last year we had
Love
the beer
it.
hall open so people could kind of enjoy that, and we had music outdoors here and a food truck or two. So that's something that's in the works, so we'll have more info on that again soon here.
Fun. That's great.
Yeah. And then when people come to town for these festivals or even just coming for a long weekend, where are some places that they can stay? You said that you're part of Visit New Ulm, right? The chamber?
Yep. So, right, the chamber handles the CVB as one of our committees. And so we promote New Ulm as a place to come and stay in our hotels. So we have hotels, of course. The Best Western Plus is our main hotel, I would say. But we also have Harmony Inn, which is under new ownership. It used to be Econo Lodge, and now it's a Harmony Inn. But they're doing a lot of remodeling and putting some funds into that, so that's really nice. And we also have a Microtel. We also have Bingham Hall, bed and breakfast, and then several Airbnbs and VRBOs. And so people know how to find those pretty easily. So, yeah, lots of options.
Sounds like it, yeah, definitely. And then, so if people are coming here for a long weekend or something, what are some things that they could do? I know you named a lot of different sites to go see,
yes,
but
right?
Are there a couple of highlights or something that you think people need to see when they come to New Ulm?
Yes. So there's itineraries on the website, which our website is newulm.com. Easy enough. And there's itineraries for one day. If you only have a day, here's what you should see. Or if you have a whole weekend, here's what you should see. Or if you're coming with a group of ladies or you're on a family getaway. So all that is on the website also. But yeah, all those ones I mentioned already. But we haven't even talked about the Herman Monument, which is giant, to say the least. So, Herman he's considered the father of Germany. In 9 AD, he united the German tribes against the Romans. And if that hadn't happened and they hadn't been successful, scholars say that we wouldn't be speaking English in the majority of the world right now, which is really cool.
That's crazy to think about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so there's a Herman the German, as we lovingly call him, in Detmold, Germany also. And then we have one here in America, and it's chosen to be right here in New Ulm. And when they thought about where to put it, in the 1800s, they chose New Ulm because of our German heritage, which is really cool. But we are in the Minnesota River Valley National Scenic Byway, and Herman is up on the bluff, and he's, you can climb the stairs all the way to the top of him too. It's 99 steps to the top, and you can see just the whole valley from up there, and it's neat. Have you gone up there yet?
I have, yeah. I was up there. I got married in 2018, and we actually had our groom's dinner up there in the park.
Fun.
So
Yeah.
a few of us went up to the top there, and it's just an amazing view of the river valley. And I think that when the Vikings were going to the playoffs one year, I think there was a video that was done up there, right?
Yeah, we
wish
did
them luck.
that. Yeah, that was
cool.
really fun.
Yeah.
It went viral for sure. That's definitely the most viral thing that we've done in a while. We did a skull chant up there. And
That's right.
We have a mascot, a Herman the German, a man who dresses up like Herman the German, and he led the skull chant up there. It was really
Very
fun.
cool.
For sure. Downtown, we also have a Glockenspiel that's pretty popular. So it's a bell tower with 37 bells in there, and it chimes. And there's a door that opens, and then a platform comes out. And there's little characters on the platform, and they go around during the bell performance 3 times a day.
How long does that take when they go around?
About 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. For sure. And so the little characters all tell the history of New Ulm also. They tell a story.
Awesome.
As you know, you can pick out like the bricklayers and the brewer, the people making beer and all of that are the different characters represented. So that's really popular. I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't say Shell's Brewery being one of the main attractions in New Ulm. I mean, even for me personally, my husband and I are not from here, and we got married in 2009. And then in February of 2010, we came to Bachfest here. That was why we came to New Ulm. We stayed at a bed and breakfast close to downtown, and we explored. We went to Bachfest and explored the town and just really had a good time. But we weren't thinking about moving here until we started a family, a few years later. And so then we moved here in 2014. And we remembered loving it as tourists, and that was our first interaction with the town. So kudos to Shells. I mean, there's probably a ton of people just like me that have that same story.
There's so many stories like that. I mean, my wife, I'm not from New Ulm, but she's from New Ulm, and the first time I came here was to a Bachfest here.
Yeah.
So, I just fell in love instantly.
There you go,
and then seeing the grounds in the summer and everything. Before our wedding, we got our first look photos in the gardens here, and it's just such a majestic place. I mean, there's so many beautiful shots that you can take here with photos, and so much to do other than just have a few beers in the beer hall. You can walk around and see the peacocks and the deer, and it's a lot of fun for families.
Agreed. Yes, and for families too. People come to the visitor center and we say, "Are you going to the brewery? Are you going to go out to Shells?" And sometimes they'll be like, "No, I don't really like beer." It's like, okay, that's okay, but you should still go because of all those things you just mentioned, and bring the kids. It's totally it's a great asset to our community for sure. A couple other things. We have an awesome golf course that was established in 1929. So it has all these mature oak trees, and it's surrounded by Flanders State Park, and it's on bluffs that overlook the Cottonwood River. And so it's a really unique golf course. And then another thing we have is the Way of the Cross. It's a Stations of the Cross that was done in 1904 by the nuns here that were here. And it's all in German and then with English subtitles on it,
awesome.
Which is really neat. And then there's a chapel at the end. It's really peaceful. It's just a great thing to check out. So a couple things that are just on the weekends. This is kind of a secret, so I hope it's okay that we're saying this on here. But New Ulm has a speakeasy.
It sure does, yeah.
Yeah, it's only open on Fridays right now, and it's awesome. It's called the Retz 227, and that's it. I'm not going to give any more. You'll have to find it on your own.
You have to see the purple light outside, right, to know that it's open?
Yep. And if you, for your listeners, if you do a Google search, I'm sure you can figure out when and where and how to get there. But it's definitely worth it. Also, the Grand Center for Arts and Culture downtown. So they have live music every Friday, and it's awesome. That was one of the places when we thought about moving to New Ulm. My husband and we came to town and spent the weekend, and that's one of the places we went. And we were like, this place is amazing. The fact that that's here in a town this size, this great center for arts and culture, and the live music was awesome. And so definitely that's worth checking out. And then another place too, the Starkeller Brewery and Tap Room. That's another awesome, newer-ish asset to New Ulm with it looks like a pole shed from the outside, right? But then you go in and you're like, look at this place. It's really awesome.
It's a hidden gem for sure. I mean, once you step inside, it's like you're transported to, it almost feels like you're back in the 30s or something, kind of in a gangster cave with the cypress tanks on the sides and everything. And,
which date back to the 30s.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's kind of transformation in time right there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool. Definitely. How about family-friendly activities? So, there's lots more too. So we have an awesome bowling alley, Concordia Lane, so you can go bowling. We've got the Lyric 3, our movie theater, which has, brand new renovated, those huge reclining chairs. And so that's a great asset that's been redone. The pinball place. Have you been there yet?
I haven't. I really want to go, though. I'm a big game person. And, that would be a really cool spot to stop.
It's awesome. So it's just 2 huge rooms full of pinball machines, and they get people from all over that come down just because, pinball people, that's a thing. They follow see what games are on the floor because they rotate them, and some people come down just to try certain games that are hard to find or something. So that's really neat.
I forget then, with that spot, do you bring in your own alcohol, or do they have a bar inside or something?
They have a bar. They
Okay.
do. Yep. So you can get some drinks there for
Cool.
sure. You can rent it for private parties too and bring in your own,
Awesome.
which is also an option for sure. Okay, well, so then also Flanders State Park. We have to talk about Flanders State Park.
Definitely, yeah.
Right? I mean, there's hardly any cities in Minnesota that have a state park. And we have Flanders, which is one of the top 10 most visited state parks in Minnesota.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, which maybe is because they have this awesome sand bottom chlorinated pool with lifeguards and sand, and it's the best of everything because it's outside and it's sand, right? So it
Yep.
feels like a lake, but it's chlorinated, so there's no bugs and no fish, and there's lifeguards right there. And so that's kind of our community pool. So I think one of the reasons why it's the top 10 most visited state parks is because a lot of New Ulm residents use it often
Yeah.
for the pool, but which is awesome. They also have miles of trails and awesome scenic overlook views, especially up by Indian Point Drive. That's awesome. They have snowshoe rentals in the winters. And it's just definitely a really great gem here.
And there's a campground in there too, right?
There is.
I mean,
Yep,
yeah,
you can go
okay.
camping. Yep,
Yeah.
and they have, you can go tent camping or RV camping. They also have camper cabins that are available year round, so you can do winter camping out there.
Oh, awesome.
Which sounds fun. I know. I kind of want to try it, even though I live here. I think that'd be a really neat experience for sure. And the Cottonwood River goes right through there, so you can go tubing or just walk in the water or swim if you want. It's not very deep, but so the river's neat also. We have a great bike trail. Our bike circle loop goes all the way around the city. It's 13 miles long, and you can hop on at any point. Counterclockwise is recommended because of our hills here in the river valley. But if you go counterclockwise, it's not quite as steep. But it's a great bike trail. We have so many parks. So I was just talking to the park director, and we are by far number one per capita on what we spend on parks than any other city in the state of Minnesota. So that's neat. I mean, that tells you that we value the outdoors and recreation and parks. And so we have just a ton of really great park facilities. We have a dog park and a skate park and, all these awesome things. We have the Vogel Arena, which is our New Ulm Rec Center, which is new. And that has it has water slides, and it has a ninja course that crosses the water, and it has rock climbing walls. And I mean, that right there is a huge asset too.
And is that where the gymnastics studio is now for Turner?
It is. Yep. So it's a huge complex. There's gymnastics, there's the aquatic center, there's a gym, there's a whole floor area where you can play basketball or tennis or whatever. They've got pickleball courts, and it's really cool. There's a lot going on there. So, I mean, there's, fishing is an option in New Ulm, as well as hunting, ice skating. We have indoor and outdoor rinks in the summertime or in the wintertime. And then for families, ice cream. How about that? We have an awesome ice cream shop downtown. It's called Minnesota Ice, like Minnesota Nice, but ice is spelled like ice in German. In Germany, ice cream is called ice, and it's EIS, and so that's how they got their name. But they have awesome ice cream, and they have spaghetti ice, which is a common thing that you'll find in German ice cream shops, and it's ice cream that looks like spaghetti. So they put the vanilla ice cream through a ricer so it looks like spaghetti, and then there's strawberry topping so it looks like, spaghetti sauce, and white chocolate shavings that look like Parmesan. It's really popular.
That's wild. I have to check that out. I haven't been there yet, but I'm an ice cream guy, just a sucker for it. It's the only sweet that I like, and I really got to get in there.
Yeah.
I'll have to try that.
Oh, you should, for sure. They've got lots of great things. Yeah, but we're lucky to have them downtown too, and that's a new asset that's newer to our community.
Is there anything else that's coming?
Yes,
You
I'm
want to talk a
glad
little bit about
asked.
that?
Yeah, actually, I did. I added an extra spot on here for our
Awesome.
coming up soon, because we do have so many exciting things happening in town, and maybe everyone says that every year, but it just feels like there's a lot going on for sure right now. One of them being Black Frost Distillery, which is amazing. I don't know if you guys have talked about that yet on your podcast.
Not yet.
Well, you're going to have to, for sure. So Jace Marty, of course, one of the Marty boys from the Shells family here, he's started his own whiskey distillery. They're already making stuff in there, and it'll be things that they're fermenting and making right on site, but as well as a cocktail lounge where you can get different cocktails as well. And it's in an old warehouse, so it's got that industrial feel, which is super popular. We also have a vineyard, Doppelganger Vineyard. They used to be located outside of town, but they have purchased a building right downtown, and they're renovating it as we speak to make a wine production facility right in the heart of our downtown. And that'll have a tasting room too, so you can try different wines and things there. So that's neat. Sweet Haven Tonics has been really popular, just like, right? They feel like they're everywhere.
Yeah, definitely. We have their stuff at the Star
Yeah.
Keller, and I believe that we brought it in the beer hall here now
Sure.
too. So
Yeah. So they make tonics, and it's just this husband and wife that just started this, and it's just gone gangbusters. And so now they have a spot downtown that they're renovating into a tasting area as well, and hoping to have a cocktail room or something downtown as well as the production is down there as well, where they make these tonics. So non-alcoholic, that non-alcoholic tasting rooms is the fastest growing market in the country right now for things like that. And so how awesome that we're going to have one here in New Ulm too.
yeah, that'll be really cool.
A couple other things. There's a Rooftop Restaurant coming to downtown. So how cool is that going to be to overlook and see the river and you're right downtown?
That's going to be so awesome.
Yeah, so hopefully that'll be open soon as well. And then just, we're working a lot with the city and changing some things and hoping to have more events downtown and to have more events in the parks as well. I was just talking to the city manager who suggested that there's maybe a traveling Shell's beer garden that goes to different parks on Saturdays. I mean, how fun does that sound?
It would be great. Yeah, everybody loves Shell's beer, so why not bring it to them, right?
Yeah, right. And then to explore our awesome parks that we are so invested in, and have some food trucks there too, and so lots of exciting things happening.
Well, then, if there's a few closing words or a few words that you want to describe New Ulm by or why people should come visit here, what would be the reason to come here?
Definitely, Germans have more fun is one of our slogans. So we have fun here, for sure we do. But also charm and tradition. And so it's a really charming downtown, full of history, but still innovative. And really, I mean, when you talk about innovation, for example, Windings makes a part that's literally on Mars right now. That's, a part that's on the Mars rover was made here in New Ulm. And there's, parts that are in race cars in on the Speedway, and just different really innovative things are happening here as well. So.
For sure. There's a lot of great minds around, a lot of good businesses, and we're just happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it, for sure.
Well, Sarah, thanks for joining me today. We'll see you around town here soon.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Wow, Sarah shared some awesome info on what you can do on your next or first visit to New Ulm, but don't take her word for it. Come check it out for yourself. We hope to see you at the brewery and out and about in town soon. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next round on Shell Me More. Prost!